Concluded. Call to the honourable member for Paterson.
Thanks, Speaker. My question is to the Minister for Employment and Workplace Relations. After a decade of wage stagnation, why are better wages so important to the Albanese Labor government's economic agenda? And what approaches has our government rejected?
Give a call to the Minister for Employment, Workplace Relations and Minister for the Arts.
Thanks very much, Speaker. And I thank the member for Paterson for the question and acknowledge the member's advocacy, including in particular of closing the labour hire loophole, which was being used in such an appalling way in her part of Australia. As the Treasurer has already reported, we're pleased to say today, as the numbers have come in, that real wages are still growing in this country. And that's real wages growing. That's real wages growing compared to when we came to office, when they were going backwards at 3.4%. 3.4%. And I love. We've talked about tests for the Leader of the Opposition. When I talk about real wages growing, the Shadow Treasurer is shaking his head, saying no, they're not. So when he leaves, here's a test: 4.1 and 3.6. Write both down and work out which is the bigger number. 4.1 is what's happening with wages. 3.6 is what's happening with inflation. Now, don't try to work it out now. Wait till you get back to the office. There'll be people to help you, maybe even an abacus available. But when wages are rising faster than inflation, that's called real wages growth. But I understand why they're sensitive about it. Wages growth, the WPI, when they were in office for their 10 years, averaged 2.2%. You look at what the Treasurer announced last night in the budget. Have a look at budget paper number 1. You might not have reached that one yet, but budget paper number 1, and you'll see the projection over the next 4 years, with real wages projected to grow in year 1, year 2, year 3 and year 4. But if real wages were still running at 2.2%, as they averaged over them, real wages would be going backwards in year 1, year 2, year 3 and year 4. And we know this has been their view the whole way through, because it was a Shadow Treasurer himself, when we introduced our Secure Jobs Better Pay bill, when asked why he opposed it, he said, well, it pushes up wages. And then only as recently as Sunday on Insiders, and I can understand why the Shadow Treasurer didn't turn up to question time yesterday, straight after the Insiders interview. Not sure if it was because of budget rules or at the I don't know if you were locked up because of budget rules or at the request of your colleagues. It was one or the other. It was one or the other. Because in that interview, when asked about the budget,
on my left and right will
he said these words: "The way to get there is pretty straightforward. You do exactly what Matthias Cormann did from 2013." Which minister was the one who referred to low wages being a deliberate design feature of their economic management? It was Matthias Cormann and this opposition. And I'm looking forward to the announcements tomorrow night when we hear from the Leader of the Opposition the costed policies, when we hear from the Leader of the Opposition what the targeted package of repeals are. Because we know they want to cut wages. They want to cut wages. They want to pay for their nuclear reactors.
Order.